Okay, welcome everybody to the Nashville Producer Meetup. We got a amazing special guest here with us tonight. We got Shalom J.Storm Miller.
Yeah.
Give it up. Yeah. All right. So we're going to go deep on some different questions that I have for him, but, I love just a little bit of a kind of quick highlights of the background first before we dive into the questions. If you got it,
Sure.
want to just kind of share a little bit about your path. What led you here?
What led me here to home, or just in this point in life?
Either one.
Yeah,
or both.
Because we got how much time? Yeah, man. What basically got me here to, I guess, this point in you guys' interest in even being here is my beginnings in pretty much we're all, musicians get their start in the church world, right? Most musicians, I should say, in popular music. I grew up I was born in New Brunswick, New Jersey. I grew up in many parts of New Jersey, primarily a small town, a little big town called Plainfield, New Jersey. They would kill me if I said small town. And that's kind of where things really catapulted. I mean, there's a long story. I guess we'll talk about some of that. But I was part of a youth program in Plainfield, New Jersey called Youth Entertainment Academy, which was funded by the George Bush administration. And up until that time, I had been reared in music, coming from a church background. I had played with a lot of notable gospel artists and, been honing my craft. I had became a pretty
What was
good
your
musician.
Instrument of choice at that point in time?
Oh, of course, drums.
Drums.
Of course,
okay.
drums. Yeah. Everybody, most people start on drums. You got to get the rhythm. You got to know the foundations. So my dad, who was the music director at our church, he started me on drums, and I got good. It was just part of my fabric. So it came kind of naturally, and with that, I like I said, I had the chance to play for some of the most notable gospel artists like the Winans. Sat in for them, John P. Kee, and several others. But fast forward, I ended up in this program called the Youth Entertainment Academy in Plainfield, New Jersey, funded by the George Bush administration. And through that, they had a small studio set up in there, and they taught you the ins and outs of the music business. And one of the counselors, he gradually started to see me and my partner at the time. He was like, "Man, you guys are like ahead of your time. Like you're like 17 years old and you made that." You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Yeah." Little did he know I had been doing it for 3-4 years by that time already. So he said, "Hey man, I got somebody I want to hear your music. You mind if I get a beat tape, cassette tapes? Remember that?"
Mm-hmm.
Nah, a little dating myself.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. Most of us remember cassette. So he took one of my cassette tapes and played it for someone who was a guy by the name of Kenny Williams, who went by Kill. He ran a record label, and he heard he was looking for a new sound. He wanted something kind of contemporary, kind of pop, and because of the school of thought and ear that I came from, which was like commercial music, Missy Elliott, Timbaland, and Neptunes and things like that, that was where my sound was. So he heard it and he was like, "Oh man, this is exactly what we need." And he bought my first beat from me. Bought a first beat, and he was like, "I don't want this to just be a one-time thing. I like this kid. I want to bring him on, and we want to do some more stuff with him." So I became the in-house producer for his record label, and the guy whose studio we went to, his name was Rashad Muhammad, and he ran a studio called Fourth Quarter Studios. And once he started seeing I was really consistent, he was like, "Man, this kid he's like really doing it." I thought it might be a one-off thing, but no, this kid got something. Like, bring him to the studio. I want to have him come in and work. So I started working at the studio, and Rashad was really well connected, man. He knew everybody. He had worked on the Fugees albums, and he worked on pretty much all of the stuff that was coming out of New Jersey, Queen Latifah and all of that stuff. So he was a big OG in the game, and he plugged me with this team called Soul Diggers, and they were on the come up at the time. Very under the radar but bubbling because they had a couple of placements on a few projects. And they had just inked a deal with Missy Elliott, and they were getting a lot of work. And they were like, we can't facilitate all of this work. We need some new producers to come and get down on the team. So Rashad, he made a little play for me to be introduced to him and to let them hear some of my tracks. And one of the first tracks I got to work on with them was Beyonce and Missy Elliott, a song called Fighting Temptations. And unbeknownst to me, I didn't know I was going to be working on this song. So when I heard it, I was just blown away. But that started.
Was this before Beyonce was Beyonce?
This was right. This was when Destiny's Child was Destiny's Child.
Right. That's what
this
I'm
was
saying.
after.
Yeah.
This was after Survivor. So yeah, Beyonce was Beyonce, but she wasn't Beyonce. She was
Right.
Beyonce from Destiny's Child.